ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to go over the grid method. The grid method is a type of way of copying, so to speak, artwork. So you get a realistic representation, a realistic image when you're done. Okay. Now, many artists use this method even today to try to get realistic drawings. All right. Not everyone is really good at just free drawing and being able to copy or, so to speak, or use a reference and draw realistic images. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of watch together this video. The teacher or the person who is presenting is phenomenal. Yes, the image that you are going to be watching her build is pretty simple, but you'll be able to get the idea of how this actually creates. One thing I'm going to ask that you do is you do not draw the whole thing at once. You are taking the entire drawing one step at a time. Now, for this practice, what you're going to do is on a clean piece of paper, okay, in your sketchbook, I want you to write grid method at the top. Okay, so everyone go get your sketchbook, open it up, write grid method at the top. Okay, underneath, you are now going to write grid method creates. Okay, got that? Grid method creates enlargements, reduction. Got that? Okay, or distortion of an image. That's it. Okay, enlargement. You can take a small image and you can actually create a bigger drawing. You can take a bigger drawing, put a grid on it, and actually shrink it. You can also put a grid on an image and then create a grid where different lines are different sizes, and you actually get it to be distorted. Okay, so here we go. Let's watch and see what she has stuff to say.
This is going to be a very simple and straightforward how to draw what you see. And you've got your traceable, a ruler, and a pencil.
You do need a
ruler.
ruler.
So on that
for this.
traceable, and I do recommend that you start off with a line drawing, we're going to divide this into 4 quadrants. You're going to cut the length in half, and then you're going to cut the width in half, and that's going to give us 4 squares. And
if you choose to do this on an image, just so you know, you can easily print it out and draw the grid over it. You can also, by the way, I believe there is an app where you can actually download a grid, so you can actually put this on as well.
Then you're going to do the same thing to your paper or your canvas that you're going to be transferring this to, or that you're going to be drawing from. And when we do this, we're going to be strengthening our power of observation. So we're applying these grid lines, and we're going to start to recognize where our design overlaps these grid lines. So we're going to start off first with the perimeter. So I want you to notice where they intersect the grid lines and kind of the distance from the center and maybe even the distance from the edges of the paper. And we're getting just kind of those lines on there first, and then we're going to connect those lines. And again, you are strengthening your power of observation.
Now, I know it sounds kind of corny, strengthening the power of your observation, but this is, okay? You're noticing where the lines intersect on her original, and you're just carrying them over to the plain paper.
So now that we're connecting the lines, I want you to notice the angle and if there's a little bit of a curve to it as we connect those lines. And this is one of those things that the more that you do this, the more your brain understands what it's recognizing and the easier it becomes. So be very kind to yourself in these beginning stages. So again, we're noticing where the design crosses the grid line, how far away from the line it is, where does it start to curve, and just take it one section at a time. And it does help if you just go, I'm drawing a line. I'm drawing a line. This line curves right here instead of going, I'm drawing a cat. Because when you tell your brain a subject matter, you're more likely to draw what you think it looks like rather than what you see.
This is very true. Take one box, one line at a time. A lot of times we get all messed up in our head and we think, oh my gosh, I have to draw an ear. No, don't draw an ear. Think, I have to draw a 3-inch line that curves at the top, okay? Step by step. You don't have to worry about taking the whole thing all together.
And with the grid method, like I said earlier, this is strengthening our power of observation. And if you need to erase something, totally okay. That is what erasers are for.
Draw light. It's
and now,
helpful.
as you're doing this, notice that I am holding my pencil really light. I don't want you to have a death grip on your pencil. So if you find that you're doing that, just shake your hand out and then grab and just keep light pressure. You can go over this a few times. So as you start getting into the details on the face, again, I want you to start recognizing the shapes and how far each of these lines or shapes are from.
Notice she says shapes, not what they are, okay? Yes, it's a nose that she just drew, but look at it as more of like an upside down hat, okay? Like wider at the top. Don't say, I need to draw the nose. Just say, oh, I need to draw this squiggly thing.
From one of the grid lines. And you can kind of, again, see where they intersect, the direction of the line. And if you even need to kind of hover over your traceable or draw right on the traceable so you kind of understand the shape, go ahead and do that. There is no absolutely right or wrong way for doing this. Now, if you see any artwork that is photorealistic, hyper-realistic, that looks absolutely perfect, that artist is very much likely using this grid method. But they're probably doing a much smaller grid to where they're going to put a 1-inch or a 1/2-inch grid on their photo and then do the same thing on their canvas and go square by square. So if you do kind of like this drawing style, research the grid method. YouTube and Google, there are tons of information out there. And this is a way that you can get photorealistic artwork. So again, as you're working on those details, notice where the line overlaps, the design overlaps the grid lines, and just kind of the general shape. And again, be kind to yourself. You're doing great. I'm so proud of you for doing this at home.
I'm proud of you too.
This is the first step of learning how to draw, and your future self is going to be so proud of you for starting right now. So good job.
Now you may be noticing now that she's kind of gone over it, she's getting a little darker, getting more confident on her her drawings, which is good.
Now, once you've got your design on there, if you want to go back around and kind of solidify the design with a little bit more pressure and a darker line, go right ahead and do that. If you don't feel like you need to do that and you like the lighter lines, go ahead and jump right into your painting or colored pencils or whatever you're going to be doing.
All right, I'm just going to stop her there. So as you can see, you take line by line. Notice where they cross over some of those grid lines, all right? You do need a ruler. You do need to map it out, okay? So on the paper that you have, all right, you are going to create a 1-inch grid, okay? That's going to match the grid that you created. Now I'm going to go over here, okay? As you can see, it's blank here. I didn't even put my video here, okay? For here, you're going to create a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 5 1-inch grid. So that means you're drawing 5 inches, 5 inches, connecting the points, okay? Also go 5 and over. Connect the points. Now, how I do it is I tend to label them. Like I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on one side and A through E on the other. And I just kind of take it one by one. Now you're going to notice that in this bulldog, and by this is the bulldog that we have as our mascot. Okay. I think I took this right off of our website. All right. Some of the lines are thick. All right. So be aware of that. So if you're okay with the thin lines, that's fine. If you want to thicken them up, that's all right. All right. You do not need to color it, but you do need to put the lines in the spot. If you feel like coloring, go ahead. That gives you extra brownie points, I'm sure, somewhere in life. Okay. But please make note, okay, where things cross the lines. Okay. When you're done, all you have to do is make sure you just upload this, and you are good to be done for this assignment.